Investigators now releasing new details about what led up to a deadly crash in a Broomfield neighborhood last month. The report talking about that single-engine plane that went down just 3,000 feet after it took off from the Erie Municipal Airport. Experienced pilots in the area reported hearing the plane having engine problems before the crash, just a few feet away from homes. Both men on board died. No one on the ground was hurt. No homes were damaged.
Straight ahead, there was only a couple questions that she wanted to know. Where should he have gone? Straight ahead.
Made a left turn in impacted terrain.
How would he have known that that was the correct answer? How would he have known what the right thing to do was?
We certainly assess any pilot factors, training, education.
How would he have known that that was the correct answer? How would he have known what the right thing to do was? Straight ahead.
For me, I needed to see where his life ended.
Where should he have gone? And how could he have known? How could he have known to go straight ahead? I remember when this plane crash happened. It was in a small Colorado town near Broomfield, just north of Denver. The plane was one I was all too familiar with, the Cherokee 6, a durable fixed-gear Piper. I knew that someday this is a story that had to be told. I'd like to document this story with music, guitars, banjo, a theme song. Straight ahead. The Broomfield pilot's family had reached out to me. They were about to turn over all the records. The NTSB had already been in contact with them, and they had been fairly demanding. What was in the records? Will there be anything in those documents that would show a lack of attention? This accident was a profound one for me for many reasons, and now it's been almost 2 years. I've constantly thought about a way to respectfully tell the story in my own style of video novel. It should involve music and a theme song and a strong takeaway. But how? It wasn't until October of 2023 when AOPA had their fatal plane crash. Theirs was an attempt to turn around after an engine problem, when straight ahead would have been a guaranteed success. How ironic, a safety organization that has a fatal plane crash in the process of trying to return to the airport after an engine problem. My new focus became in looking for a sign. I had to find a sign. The Colorado family was scared. They wanted me to see the records first and tell them what those records said. Was everything proper? I flew to Denver, Colorado, and I met with the family. The crash was still recent, and all the immediate family had gathered around that dining room table. They all had questions, so many questions. The records were perfect. Every detail was in order. Robert Williams was the pilot and the owner, and every detail was in perfect order. We went to the crash site. The accident was obvious. Robert's omission was clear. There had been both training and education, but no conditioning. Robert had made a hard left-hand turn and aimed for the paved road. Handling a surprise like he encountered that day required all three: training, education, and conditioning. Training and education are not for crises. Condition is for crises. But slowly I can see the way you've made for me. Straight ahead, I can see your way. Straight ahead, through the dark. Straight ahead, there's no left or right. Straight ahead to your heart. I came across this Amy Grant song, and I knew that it would help me illustrate this story. So I'm not really a filmmaker or a musician. I had to score this out on paper, but I can do that as I hear it. I hear songs in pitch. I can normally write the music down as I'm hearing it. So building this storyboard and scoring the song out was going to be necessary. Now to answer this family's question. If going straight ahead was required, where was that ever taught? I looked at my own material. Nowhere did I ever address this very scenario. The advice to go straight ahead is not in any FA material, and I myself have never talked about this at all. I think we all failed Robert, myself included. This one is on me as much as anyone else. I have never written about or emphasized this conditioned response until now. Straight ahead. There's no left or right. Straight ahead to your heart. That's another tough one. I'm not happy with this. I'm most not happy that we as a training industry have not trained this better than what we have.
We certainly assess any pilot factors, training, education.
I'm standing in the spot of the last known ADS position. You can look on FlightAware and look at it. The Erie Airport off of runway 15 is directly behind me. You can probably see the windsock down there in the background. It's not very far. These two private pilots took off on a test flight, and after takeoff suffered an engine failure with an engine that was not making proper power. They flew runway heading perfectly straight like champions, exactly like I would want them to, all up into the very last second. When they got to this point right here, which is in the middle of this green field, they elected to make a very hard left-hand turn and aim for the street. I can't fault them for that because the street looked really nice. It was paved, there was no traffic on it. It'd be landing the Cherokee 6 on the road. They shouldn't have done it. Look at the green field that I'm in right here. I mean, this is like amazing. Open field straight ahead that they could have put this thing in off field, on turf, straight ahead. And even the distance beyond us here, it's got some scrub and trees and miscellaneous brush. Survivable? Absolutely. What is not survivable is if you bank it very hard to the left at low altitude and lose all your lift. The airplane is coming down, and it hit hard. It hit really hard right out here, and I'll show you the initial impact point and where this thing ended up at. This is a pilot training thing. You people that are watching this, you're gonna lose an engine after takeoff. Lower the nose and go straight ahead. Maybe a little left or a little right, but you go straight ahead. If you try to maneuver this airplane low to the earth, this is what's going to happen to you. It can't be done. There's a thing called Bernoulli in physics. Your wing cannot support that increased G and that increased load, and you are no longer an aircraft. You're more like a rock with wings. You're going to impact, and these guys did. Greg was here, happened to be here when this crash happened. Greg, so tell me what you were doing. You're out walking on that Sunday morning, May 22?
Yes, sir. I was just coming back from a walk. I was walking down south on Los Brisas, probably about 20 yards from the corner. Heard this huge crash, turned around, saw a body in the street. So immediately I called 911, walked over, looked at the bodies to see if there was any chance that these two gentlemen were alive at all.
Right, right. When you heard the crash, did you hear one impact or two? Because we're standing at the spot where the airplane hit first, and it hit kind of hard, and then there was a second crash as it bounced over there. Do you remember one crash sound or two?
One crash, no engine noise whatsoever.
No engine noise.
Nothing.
So it was kind of silent, probably.
Exactly.
On its approach.
Yes.
So tell me about the community that you live in here. I noticed the little golfway in the middle here. Is this like a golf course or?
Oh no, nope. This is an over 55 community. This just happens to be an open space. There's a lot of them in this community.
Yeah. So in the middle, I noticed the open space goes a long ways in between these rows of houses here.
Yes, sir, it does.
Is it that way from the homeowners association to keep that open for?
Oh, that was actually part of the builder's plan.
I see. Yeah, it just happens to be in perfect alignment from the runway, which is behind us.
Exactly.
So it makes an actual off-airport landing site actually pretty good straight ahead here.
Yes, sir.
So let's take a look at the marks on the ground here. Tell me what you're seeing right here.
Well, I can see right here
There you go.
This is where the plane initially hit. It looks possibly like the wheels hit here, and then the propeller, the front of the plane, hit the road. You can see the marks in the road where that happened. They start here, and you can see here there's just really large divots taken out of the road. So this is where the propeller hit.
And so it hit here, and then going from here forward, there's not a mark in the street.
Nothing.
So that means it hit here and bounced. And let's walk forward and show me where the airplane was when you first approached it.
Sure thing.
After you saw what had happened. And I guess you were walking on Las Braces going that way.
I was initially, yeah. Well, okay, so we can see this is quite a distance.
And then the airplane really...
The airplane somehow hit, mainly got caught up in these trees here. You can see the evidence of the tree being hit.
Yeah, it took quite an impact.
Our brother was a very meticulous engineer that loved to fly and had done a lot of research on flying a private plane, and to the best of our knowledge just made a mistake and wrecked his plane and killed him and a passenger.
It's a shock to the community, and I'm sure it was a shock to you to be that much of a witness to something like this.
It was.
Especially when you experience firsthand loss of life. Those are two real people.
Yes, sir. This haunted me for quite a while.
Yeah, they do. They haunt you because you recognize for each one of those there's a family and wife and kids someplace, and somebody's dad's not coming home tonight, and
yes,
it's really traumatic.
And
to
meeting the family today really kind of brought it all back.
Yeah, it's a real deal. Well, what we're trying to do is prevent more similar accidents in the future from the same cause. So I'll give you just a 30-second synopsis of what I think happened here. And I know it's still early, but the airplane definitely lost power after takeoff.
Yeah.
And the witnesses heard the engine sputtering and it wasn't making power. In our flight training, we're supposed to teach people to, in that situation, to land straight ahead and do not bank the airplane at all.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, if he had stayed straight ahead, what do you think he would have hit out here going straight down the fairway?
From where he first hit, possibly that little lake over there.
Well, now this is from where he first hit, but think about if he hadn't turned, he would have been a lot further that way.
Okay, there's an additional open space on the other side of the road. He could have possibly landed.
Right, and in that open space out there, I saw a lot of little trees and some water and things like that, but there's not really very much significant out there.
No, they probably could have survived.
Yeah, so that's really the secret. What they did, for whatever reason, was they turned left and tried to land on this street, because at the last second, this street started looking like a really good runway.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It looked paved. I mean, look at how beautiful this street is.
Yep,
you could almost
straight.
put a center line on it and call it a runway.
Yes.
It's really nice.
Yes.
So it would have looked very tempting from in the air to turn left and land on this hard surface, as opposed to going straight ahead
Right.
into the brush.
Yes.
Is what happened. The sudden turn at the end is what caused the fatalities.
Yes, sir.
They lost all their energy and all their lift. They didn't land in that grass. They impacted into that grass.
Correct. Right.
They hit so hard into the grass, they were out of energy. It hit so hard that it bounced from over there to over here, at which point they're out of control.
Correct.
They're going to hit whatever they are going to hit. And this pine tree happened to be in their path, and the pine tree doesn't give.
No, and I'm thankful for the pine tree, because if it hadn't been there, I was right in the path of the plane.
Yeah, the pine tree stopped it from going across the street and into that house and even further. So the pine tree
definitely stopped it. It's totally unfortunate. But my message is to other people that see you and I talk, like this airplane taking off here, is for pilots to think about in time of crisis, go straight ahead. Maybe a little turn left or right, but don't make a 90-degree turn close to the ground, no matter how good it looks. Don't do it.
Right? Yep.
Don't do it.
Great advice.
I couldn't understand how this could happen because he was always so careful. And he was a planner. And he educated himself. And he was an engineer. He was meticulous. He was precise. And I just wanted to come here to try to understand how this could have happened. And he left behind those of us who were his first family and 3 amazing kids and a lovely wife and many, many others who miss him terribly. And we wanted to try to help others, to help other families not stand surrounded by the remains of what his final moments on this earth looked like.